Want to know more about the Audiolab 6000N streamer? I got you covered. So the Audiolab 6000N is a streamer. But what is a streamer and why do you need a streamer or network player? Well, your Spotify or Tidal stream comes through the internet and you can't just put your Ethernet cable into your amplifier. You need to turn the Ethernet signal into an analog signal that your amplifier can understand. Also, you need a user interface. This allows you to choose what song you want to play from Spotify or Tidal. And that is what a streamer does. You can also use the Audiolab 6000N to stream music from your NAS or your music server. A NAS is a network connected hard drive that contains your music, and a music server is a dedicated computer that contains your music. So they are more or less the same, but in my experience a dedicated music server gives you better sound quality if compared to a NAS. You cannot connect a laptop or a PC to this streamer. Now let's have a look at the front. As you can see, it is very basic. A standby button, 6 preset buttons and an LED, and that's it. If we look at the rear, there's something more to see. If we go from left to right, there is a power inlet, the on and off switch is there. You can connect 2 Wi-Fi antennas and these work very good, so you can even do without an Ethernet cable. There is another LED, I will go into that later in the video. A Wi-Fi button to connect the streamer to your router and an Ethernet port. There's 2 USB ports. The first one is for updates only and the second one is to connect the streamer to the matching 6000 series amplifier. But this will only allow you to control the volume of the amplifier via the streamer. Now I'm not a big fan of controlling volume in the digital domain, so I would probably not use that. And then there is a 12 volt trigger. You can use that if you want all the equipment to turn on when you turn on the amplifier. And last but not least, there are your digital and analog outputs. So you can connect your streamer to an external DAC if you want to. And that's it. Now let's connect all the cables and turn the streamer on. And then we come to the most important part of this video. How does it sound? Well, pretty darn good if you ask me. It is very musical, bass and rhythm are very good and it sounds very sweet and immersive. I really liked it a lot for a $500 streamer. Now what do I mean by that? Well, my normal setup is a Bluesound Node 2i connected to a PS Audio New Wave DAC, and that works better for me than the Audiolab on its own. So what's the difference? Well, there is no sharpness to the Audiolab. It sounds very sweet, but it is not as open and airy sounding as my own setup. Voices are beautiful, but they do lack a bit in authority, in presence. There is plenty of bass, but it does lack some power and some control. For example, if you listen to The Vanishing of Peter Strong by Yellow, the driving bass is not as punchy as in my own setup. Background noise is very low on the 6000N and there is plenty of micro detail. If you listen to something like Elegie pour violoncelle et piano opus 24, see my Audiophile Barista playlist on Tidal, it is actually very impressive and seductive. As a matter of fact, it did very well with classical music in general. The wireless performance of this streamer is very good if you want to listen to CD quality. For high resolution streams it does sample everything down to CD quality to have a more reliable Wi-Fi connection. If you do want to stream high resolution files over Wi-Fi, you have to put it in critical listening position. But it is a pain to convince the app to do this, and every time you restart the app you will have to reset to this critical listening position. Before you know it, you will just be listening to CD quality instead of high resolution. Now if you connect an Ethernet cable to the streamer, it does play high resolution, but as the app now refuses to tell you what the current sampling rate is, I have no idea if this is true. That is, until the app decides to do tell you what the sampling rate is. This app was completely frustrating to work with, but more on that later. Back to the sound. This is a very competent sounding streamer for the money. I would say if your system, source, amplification, loudspeakers, cables, is around the $1,000 to $2,000 range, maybe even a bit higher, this streamer will be a very satisfying addition to your system. If your system is more high-end, you will start to miss some detail, some presence, bass control, precision in the soundstage and so on. But for this kind of money you can't blame the Audiolab 6000N. It is very good value. So in conclusion, this is a great streamer. Would I use this Audiolab streamer in my main system? No, I would not. But remember, my main system contains of a set of $12,000 loudspeakers, a $3,000 preamp and a $1,000 DAC. And I'm still looking for a replacement for my $15,000 OTL mono tube amps that I had. Now these are all new prices, this is not what I paid for it, but I want you to understand when I say no, I would not choose this streamer for my system, I am comparing it to a $25,000 rig. For a system like that, this is just not good enough. However, if your setup is around $2,000, maybe $3,000, I absolutely can recommend this streamer. But it's not all praise. The biggest letdown of this system for me is the mandatory Play-Fi DTS app. I do not like this app. In fact, it is bloody frustrating to work with. It is not intuitive at all, and many times it was unclear to me how I could get back to the previous page or how to get to a certain feature. Anyways, having said that, I must admit that using the app to connect the streamer to my network was extremely easy, and I do like that the app displays the cover art very big. I like that. One thing the app will not do is play Apple Music. Now as far as I'm concerned, that is not really a bad thing, as nobody should be a victim to the Apple dominant ecosystem anyhow. So if my own streaming setup is better, why did I pick this up? Well, that's easy. The main reason I bought this unit is because of my girlfriend. For those of you who follow my channel, you probably know that she is not into gadgets or even smartphones. She is a big fan of listening to the radio, but as FM radio is slowly being removed from the air here in the Netherlands, she now has to use internet radio. But she does not like using apps on her phone, and of course there is no iPad or tablet in her house. But with 6 radio stations programmed under the 6 buttons on the front side of the streamer, just like she was used to on a normal FM radio, this is the perfect streamer for her. Here you can see how the buttons work without having to use your phone or your tablet. You just press the button and it takes you to the programmed setting. This can be a radio station, but it can also be a specific song or a playlist, for example. She also plays CDs, and together with the matching 6000 CDT that I also have, this setup looks absolutely beautiful if you ask me. So now I am still looking for a good deal on the matching 6000A amplifier, and then this system will go to her home. You could also address the preset buttons via the remote control, but only if you have the matching Audiolab amplifier. You see, the streamer has no IR receiver, so when you make the USB connection on the rear to the rear of the amplifier, you can use the IR receiver from the amplifier to control the streamer. And that's all I have for you today, guys. I hope you liked this video. Make some noise in the comment section, like and subscribe, and I see you in the next one.